everyone, and welcome to Reinventing Mental Health. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we have Dr. Anil Gupta, internationally known as the Love Doctor. He helps successful individuals create extraordinary relationships, whether it's in love, business, or personal fulfillment. He helps singles, couples, and families overcome struggles and issues in relationships in a rapid and powerful manner with proven results so they can live richer, fuller lives fulfilled with love. Dr. Gupta has helped countless people overcome adversities, leading them to experience life in a new dimension. He's a best selling international author and TEDx speaker, positively impacting very large audiences in over 18 countries. He's been featured in numerous publications and media outlets, including iHeartRadio, Fox News, Sky TV, Harvard, ABC, NBC, and many more. Anil has coached celebrities, including Mike Tyson, was a guest speaker with Richard Branson on Necker Island, and has been invited by heads of state and spiritual leaders like the Dalai Lama to meet. Dr. Gupta overcame suicide in 2008 and has since then formulated the happiness formula, the happiness test, the relationship score, and the relationship ratio. He has spoken on Fox News, spoken at Harvard, on Sky TV, done a TEDx, written an international bestseller called Immediate Happiness, and founded the Happiness Score. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Gupta. What an absolute pleasure it is to have you on our channel talking to our families.
Great, Mary. I'm not an actual doctor. I am known as the Love Doctor.
Okay.
But I did practice optometry for 20 years, and that was in the UK. So thank you for allowing me to be on your show. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, can you share a little bit about your background and what inspired you to focus on helping couples, especially those that may be navigating things like parenting?
You know, I was an optometrist in London, and if there was a little bit of extra time, people would start talking to me, and then they would tell me a problem. I don't know why, but they would. And I would give them a suggestion, and they would come back saying, "Oh, Mr. Gupta, that worked." I said, "Of course it worked." I thought it was common sense, but I realized later that it wasn't common sense. It's just that I had a gift for finding out the problems and the solutions. And I never knew that it was a gift. And later realized that was my genius. When you find something so easy to do and others find hard, that's genius. So I started doing events. The first event was 5 people, 10, 50, 100, eventually 10,000 people. And I spoke on stages all over the world, helping people because we were never given a manual. And the book that you mentioned here, Immediate Happiness, is a manual on human behavior. You know, why we do what we do, why we get upset, how to break down upsets, forgiveness, letting go. The past doesn't equal the future. So we were never given a manual, and you know, we all need help. I need help. I've got a mentor who helps me whenever there's something I'm not sure how to handle. She and he, they help me.
Absolutely. So you said that inside of your book, it talks about some different reasons why we may get upset. What are some things that you touch on or focus on inside of your book, inside of that area?
So a big thing is the meaning-making machines. As human beings, we're meaning-making machines. Something happens, we make it mean something. So, for example, if I call my wife and she doesn't pick up, I used to make it mean she doesn't love me, she doesn't care for me, she doesn't honor me, she doesn't respect me, she doesn't care about me. You know, if she did, she'd pick up the phone. Then she'd come over and say, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry, the battery died." In those days, the batteries used to die. But I'd made up all this meaning. And then as human beings, we love to be right about being right. And then I would remember other things that she did and say, "Oh, there's more evidence, there's more evidence." And this happens, Mary, in seconds. And then I have an expectation she should have done that, but she didn't do that. So we're really good at that negative spiral that we go down.
Now, how does that then also pass over into the parenting relationship with our children?
Well, we expect our kids to behave differently. We
Mhm,
impose. When I was your age, I had three newspaper rounds. I had a small business. I was mowing lawns, blah, blah, blah. But, we can't impose our lives on them. And the
mhm,
biggest mistake that parents make is this: they expect the child to come into the adult world, whereas the parent has to come into the child's world, see what they're seeing, experience what they're
mhm,
experiencing, fear what they're fearing. Because like the other day, I was just sitting down on the ground here, and
mhm,
I saw the world completely differently. I saw what a baby would see. Baby would
mhm.
see all these obstacles and little places to crawl into, but as an adult we would never see it. So we have to see things from the eyes of our children.
Absolutely. So, as adults, what are some ways that we can help ourselves to remember what it was like to be a child? And then how can we help ourselves to see through their eyes and be more compassionate and loving towards our children?
you know uh, when a child is born, they probably get 1,000 hugs and kisses a day.
Hmm.
Then that diminishes. And when kids are like 6, 7, 8, they don't want to even be seen with their parents at school, never mind being hugged and kissed. And the parents let the kids get away with it. But I said to my son, look, son, I'm always going to hug and kiss you. If any of the other kids say anything to you, just let them know my dad loves me. They need to know what to do because they're never taught how to respond. And, that's very important. And, just get down to their level physically
Hmm.
and look at what they're doing, and who are they spending time with. That's a big thing. Who they spend time with will dictate how they show up in life.
Absolutely. So, we get a lot of parents in our office that are having relationship struggles, specifically around parenting and still remaining a couple. So, how does the transition to parenthood typically affect a couple's relationship? And what can they do to prepare or navigate for this shift as they're expecting a child?
So the number one thing is awareness of who you're being, how you're showing up, how you're not showing up. And just remember what a gift this beautiful soul was when they came into the world. And the scenario is this, when they poop, they can poop everywhere, and we don't complain. Think, oh my God, he pooped, she peed, and they can pee in your face, and you do nothing about it.
Yep.
Okay, but then they go to school,
Hmm.
and they're told to sit down and be quiet, and
Hmm.
then th- they're not given as much love because
Hmm.
they're going to school. They're little men or little ladies.
Yeah.
So then the child doesn't get the love, doesn't get the instant report. Oh, I did something, and then they get admonished. Then they realize they have to do something in order to get love. So it could be playing up, it could be getting better grades, it could be a better athlete, it could be a better scholar, it could be, a nicer human being, you know. Whatever it is they decide,
Hmm.
that's how they continue with life. But if you give them constant love, you
Hmm.
won't have adolescent behavior. My kids didn't have any adolescent behavior because it was constant and never ending coaching. I called it AIM, always improving myself, because
Hmm.
parents, when that child was born, it was even before the child was born, it brought so much love into your life.
Oh, absolutely.
Just
Yeah.
focus on that. Yeah, don't focus on things,
Mhm.
achievements. Focus on love. That's the biggest thing.
Now, what would you say to a parent whose child has decided that the way for them to get attention and to meet their needs is to actually act out? How can parents help to change that behavior?
Okay, so a great way is really just to have one-on-one time with them
Hmm.
and just ask them questions. Hey, Johnny, what is your greatness? What do you love to do? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What's your favorite food? So get into their world, find
Hmm.
out what their music is, find out what they love to do, find out what their fears are, what their worries are. And here's a really great exercise that all the parents can do. So we would sit around the dinner table. I would ask my
Mhm.
wife, honey, what did you do today that you were not thankful? So my wife would say, I cooked this meal. So my son, who was 9 at the time, would thank her. My 7-year-old would thank her. I would thank her.
Mhm.
Then I would ask the same question to my son and my daughter. Then I would ask it to myself.
Mhm.
Next question is, what act of kindness did you see today? We would go around the table. The next question, what act of kindness did you perform today? Go around the table.
Mhm.
What are you grateful for? Go around the table. The next question is, what did you see? What did you notice?
Mhm.
Dad, I noticed you picked me up from school. You gave me a hug and a kiss. Not every parent comes. That's where
Mhm.
that's came
Yep.
from.
Mhm.
Um, and the next question is, so we go around the table. Um, what what was fun, exciting, funny about today? Not was there anything?
Mhm.
What was? What act of kindness did you see? Not did you see? So they
Mhm.
have to answer positively. And because they know this exercise, they're looking for acts of kindness. They're looking to perform acts of kindness. They're looking for things to be grateful for. And the last question is there anything on your mind? One day my daughter said, Dad, I'm having a problem at school. I said, great. I said, Dad, what's great about it? You don't even know what the problem is. I said, honey, no matter what the problem is, we're going to fix it. But Dad, you don't even know. I said, honey, there's always a way. And then you create a neural pathway. Then they start thinking, there's always a way. There's always a way. There's always a way. Instead of
Mhm.
being defeated. Now, the
Right.
great thing about this exercise, Mary, is this. Next day, my 9-year-old son was in charge.
Mhm.
So he has to
Oh.
be a leader. He
Mhm.
has to be confident, respectful to his sister, uh,
Mhm.
public speaking skills. And he became a public speaker, did over 1,000 talks for Tony Robbins. My
Right.
daughter did a talk in front of 10,000 people too.
Mhm.
And when there's a problem, you want them to come to you. And
Mhm.
I say to them, look, always be honest. If you mess things up, just tell us the truth and we'll find a
Mhm.
way. There's always a way.
Yeah.
Don't lie to us, don't lie to anybody else. Just tell the truth, and we'll always find a way. Because once you start lying, it's a muscle that you don't want to develop
Mhm.
because it
Yeah.
gets easier and easier. You don't want to do that.
Oh, absolutely. So very often while I'm meeting with parents and I'm talking to them about sitting down and having those nightly meals as a family, I hear that their family has so many activities going on. They've got kids in multiple extracurricular activities. One's going to dance, one's going to football. The parents are both going in opposite directions and they're not having family dinner. So, for families that are so overscheduled, what are some ways that they can help build in time that maybe isn't around the dinner table as an entire group because of their schedules?
Again, it doesn't have to be around dinner, but if they schedule in, lacrosse, swimming,
Mhm.
football, and all this stuff, why can't they schedule this?
Yeah,
It's important. Just
right.
schedule it. You have to do this. The pain and suffering if you don't do it is going to be so much. And how long does it take? 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Right.
And I call it the line of demarcation. If you put your kids in a car, did they wear safety belts? You do. Did they resist it? At first they did, but you
Mhm.
insisted. You made it a discipline. You know,
Mhm.
discipline weighs ounces, regrets weigh pounds. So just make it happen.
Yeah.
It sounds like, simple advice, and it is simple and it's important. Make it happen.
When my kids were little, one of the things that we used to do is every night during dinner, we would have a similar conversation, though a little bit different. And we would all have like a sticky note or an index card, and we would write down something good that happened that day. And we had a big jar, and we would put those things in the jar. And at the end of the year on New Year's, we would sit down and we would read all of those good things that had happened throughout the year, because even if they were little things like somebody opened the door for me or somebody helped me with a homework assignment, they built up. And instead of being so focused on the negative things that happened in their day, they were able to start looking for the positive things that had happened during the day.
I love that. With my clients, I do exactly the same thing, but I ask them to review it every week. Why
Okay.
wait a year? And then you think, oh, we did this in a week. And that gives them ideas to do something next week. Yeah, I love that idea. And you could create a book with it. You know, I call it my
Yeah.
magical moments book.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so sometimes in parenting, we have disagreements between parents. We have got one parent who's strict and one parent who seems a little bit more lenient. How can couples handle disagreements about parenting styles without letting it strain their partnership?
Okay, so let's role play this. Okay, Mary.
Hmm.
So imagine you want to do, uh, you want one of the kids to do A, and I don't. Okay.
Hmm.
So then I would ask you, hey, Mary, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it that he does that?
A 7.
Okay. So, Mary, for me, it's a 9, he doesn't.
Okay.
Because I'm concerned that he's going to get hurt, something bad's going to happen, and we're going to regret it for the rest of our lives. And honestly, he doesn't even like it. Okay. So we're not having an argument,
Hmm.
but I can't say 9s and 10s to everything. I've got to be honest.
Hmm.
That way, wow, he really means no. And
Hmm.
and there are times you can say it's a 10 for me, and then I say, well, Mary, if it's a 10 for you, of course we're going to do it. So that
Right.
way you avoid the arguments and you take away the emotion. It's
That's
brilliant. I
amazing.
don't know
Yeah.
who came up with that.
So, what advice do you have for couples that are dealing with the stresses of raising neurodivergent children, like those with ADHD or autism, while also trying to help keep their relationship strong?
The number one thing I
Mhm.
would do is change their diet
Okay. Hmm.
completely.
Hmm.
Completely. I'm sure you agree.
I do. That is
It's
one of the
it's
big
really important.
conversations.
Yeah,
Mhm.
remove all the dyes, all the sugars, all the flavorings. Go, uh, what's the word? Gluten free, but
Hmm.
also have a look at some of the supplements that you can get. Uh, it makes a difference, and be
It does.
patient.
Hmm.
In you'll notice a difference between 2 and 4 weeks, and it's a healthy thing to do.
Hmm.
Um, just work on providing them with the best environment. And parents, you've got to align. One parent can't say, "Oh, it's okay to have that candy," and the other one says, "No, it's a no." Again, it's that
Yep.
line. And if you get this done early,
Hmm.
you'll save years of pain and suffering. And guess what? They maybe they'll get off their medications.
Absolutely true. Yep. So we often get the complaint that the spark fades after years of marriage, parenting, and routine. What are some realistic ways that couples can reignite passion in their marriage?
So the reason that happens is that mostly women want to feel loved, so they don't feel loved. Men want to feel respected, and they don't feel respected. So,
Hmm.
ladies, just ask your man this one question: honey, what can I do to make you feel respected, even more respected? What else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? Men are very easy. Good job. Well done. I'm proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're amazing. You're great. You make me feel safe. Men love that.
Hmm.
But men, don't fix your women. They don't want to be fixed. Don't be present to them. They want you to be present.
Hmm.
Listen to them. They want to be heard. They want to be
Yeah.
understood, and they want to feel safe. And ask them this question, honey, what can I do to make you feel even more loved? What else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? And just do those things. It's
Right.
really simple. And remember what you used to do back then. You used to go on date nights, you used to give
Hmm.
her attention, he used to give gifts and all sorts of things. But you've stopped doing that because you got into this routine. You've
Hmm.
made, and this is very important, you've made the children there your number one priority. Never ever do that. When you make your partner your number one priority, one, they will never leave you. Two, they'll never get upset with you within reason.
Hmm.
Okay. But then the children see it, they'll do the same, and their partners will never leave them. Then
Right.
children will get even more love because your capacity to love and be loved increases. So I see a lot of parents making their children their number one priority. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that.
So early on in our marriage, I love that you brought up the thing about women don't want their husbands to fix things. So that was a conversation we had very early in our marriage. Was when I come to you to talk to you, I'm not asking you for you to fix something. I already know how to fix it. I just want you to hear me for a minute so that I can feel like I have talked to someone about it. And sometimes just talking to him about it allows me to come to the conclusion of what it is that I need to do in order to fix it. But I also love that you said that she should be asking him how he can feel more respected. So that's a
Yeah.
wonderful way for couples to make sure that they're communicating well.
And Mary, when you speak to your husband, you also feel safe then, because
Yeah.
you feel able to be self-expressed.
Mhm. So, what role does non sexual intimacy, like emotional connection or small gestures, play in keeping a relationship vibrant? And how can busy parents prioritize this throughout the week?
You know, there's sex and there's love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, love is acceptance. Again, when you ask your partner, "Hey, what can I do to make you feel more loved?"
Mm-hmm.
Honey, if you would do this, if you would do that, if you're walking past me, just rub my shoulder or just touch me. You know, it's these little things. You know, like you're looking at a baby's hand and you just see how beautiful it is. Hold your wife's hand and just say, "Honey, wow, these are beautiful hands." Uh, acknowledge and just be present. Just
Mm-hmm.
be present. It's such a simple thing to do, but we're running around and we're distracted. Just be present. Makes an entirely different experience. And
Mm-hmm.
do little things for your partner. Little is the littlest things make the biggest difference. You know, the thoughtful things. Oh, that was very thoughtful of you.
Yep, I agree. So you've worked with couples for many, many years now. Can you share a story, anonymous of course, of a couple who successfully rekindled their spark while raising kids and what made the biggest difference for them?
Ah, this is such a beautiful story. We just had one conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and this beautiful man, very, very heart-centered. Um, and he was complaining about his wife and his relationship. And basically, I did a forgiveness exercise on him, and he was able to let go of something that happened in the past. And
Mm-hmm.
then he realized that, you know, she's going through a lot. She has some issues that she needed to handle. But at the end of the days, he just said, "You know what? I accept you as you are." Instead
Mm-hmm.
of trying to fix her or running around trying to make her happy. This is what men do. This is thing, happy wife, happy life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's total rubbish. It's total
Mm-hmm.
rubbish. I'm not responsible for my wife's happiness, and she's not responsible for mine. But men are doing this. They're running around trying to keep their women happy, and women
Mm-hmm.
don't like it. They want a masculine man.
Mm-hmm.
And then women become more masculine, and then the man becomes more feminine, and it's just it's horrible.
It definitely is not good for the health and well-being of either individual as well, because women aren't supposed to carry those masculine traits and responsibilities, and it can definitely wear on our health, causing things like autoimmune disorders and even so far as cancers. I've read quite a number of studies on that.
Yeah, forgiveness is the biggest cause. If especially women, they tend to hold on to things. They
Mm-hmm.
remember things, and that really causes a lot of ill health. And I call forgiveness is the express pathway to freedom. The
Mm-hmm.
quality of your life is dependent on the depth and authenticity of the forgiveness you extend to yourself and to others. It's everything.
Mm-hmm. So, given that, can you share with all of our viewers one of your forgiveness exercises?
Yeah, so it's really a mantra.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can say to yourself, I uh, uh, "This is my life. I choose how I run it. I choose how I live it. I choose freedom. I choose peace. I choose tranquility. When I speak, people listen. I make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't about me. It's about the difference I make."
Mm-hmm.
Today is the day. I am worthy, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm unstoppable, I'm kind, I'm generous, I'm playful, I'm fun, I'm
Mm-hmm.
loyal, I'm generous. I love me. I am love.
I love
Today's the
that.
day. I
Mm-hmm.
release myself. Today's the day. I forgive myself. I forgive me. I forgive me. I forgive me. I am free at last, free to make a bigger difference. I got this. I can handle this. I always have. I always will. Today's the day. I'm ready. I forgive me.
I love that. That sounds like an amazing morning, meditation or mantra, like you said. So, what is a myth about love and relationships that you wish couples would stop believing? And what's the truth instead?
Um. Oh wow. Never been asked that one. Yeah, really, it's about prioritizing the kids.
Hmm.
And the situation is this. So when a baby is born, the mother will make the child the number one priority.
Hmm.
And the man thinks, oh, okay, it's a baby, it's fine. But it continues because
Hmm.
the baby will be a guaranteed source of love for the mother. So, but the father, he will play harder or work harder. And then he gets into his routine. He goes out with his friends, he does this. Then the baby becomes an adult, goes to university. Then the mother turns around and says, hey, John, I'm back. But he's already gone doing his stuff.
Hmm.
But the big problem, Mary, is this because he's not feeling respect, because he's not getting attention. If another woman gives him attention,
Hmm.
it's a real problem because it's hard to say no if you're being deprived at home. That's why when you make your partner your number one priority, he'll never have those thoughts. He doesn't need to.
Hmm. So, as we're talking about relationships and parenting, and we're talking about families where mom and dad have stayed together. What about for couples or families where mom and dad are divorced and now there's step parents involved?
Well, it's hard, but the
Hmm.
most important thing is to let the children know that they are loved and
Hmm.
it's not their fault. Mummy and daddy didn't break up because they weren't lovable. There was something wrong with them, and it's got nothing to do with them. They are lovable. It's really important to let them know that. And, it's really important, if you let your kids know, as a father, say, hey, your mum's great, acknowledge and edify the other person instead of criticizing them because it makes life easier and it's the right thing to do.
Hmm. So, in all of your work, what's the most rewarding part of working with couples who are parents, and what keeps you hopeful about love in today's busy world?
The most rewarding is at the beginning of every
Hmm.
coaching client, I ask them, what's your relationship score with your partner?
Hmm.
10 being the best and 0 being the worst. I ask them, uh, the man and the lady, and then, you know, raising the score from a 3 to a 6 or a 3 to an 8 in
Oh,
one
wow.
session. It's incredible because you can see the weight lifting off their shoulders. You
Hmm.
can see that they do love the other person, but they've had all this baggage that suddenly just disappears because they don't have the tools. Once they have the tools, oh, let me give you an example. I would always leave the toilet seat up, and it would annoy my wife. So I would
Yep.
do it deliberately because that's the type of guy I used to be back then. Then one day, Mary, she said this to me, Annie,
Hmm.
every time you leave the toilet seat up, I can't love you as much. I thought, really? Really? She said, yeah. And I thought, wow, she's right. I thought it was funny, but it,
Hmm.
it really upset her. So when you can communicate, when you teach people how to communicate, it
Hmm.
makes their life so much easier. And their children benefit too as well.
Absolutely. So, for listeners that are feeling discouraged about the relationship, what's one piece of encouragement or wisdom that you'd offer them in order to keep going and trying?
I would ask, why did you get with them?
Mm-hmm.
What was it about them that you loved? Because you've forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
You've let the mediocrity and the mundanity of life take over. You've
Mm-hmm.
let routines and stuff, you know, how much attention do you give them?
Right.
How much effort do you put into that relationship? How much effort do you put into work, into playing golf or playing pickleball? You
Mm-hmm.
know, what if you spent as much time on your partner? Make them feel important. And if you
Mm-hmm.
do, guess what? You will add more years to their life and more life to their years.
Absolutely. I know that, in looking at some of the Blue Zone studies, it has been so inspiring to read the portions of all of these studies where community is definitely the biggest part of life and longevity. So building and establishing a healthy marriage and a healthy community around you and your family is a huge part that all of us need to take into account as we are raising children and, being couples.
It's huge, when you have a support system
Yeah.
and you have a community, you have no drama, no trauma. It
Mm,
makes all the difference.
absolutely. So, where can our audience learn more about you and your work and get resources to help strengthen their relationship?
So I have a lot of content on my website, which is meetanil.com,
Okay.
MEET Anil.com. And if you're struggling or you need help, yeah, just reach out to me. My email is Anil, ANIL, at meetanil.com. I'll be happy to help you. I'm on a mission to move, touch, and inspire anyone who comes in my way. Coming from suicide in 2008 to where I am today, the secret to living is giving.
Absolutely. And we will make sure that we share all of his contact information with all of our viewers today.
No,
Thank you
thank you, thank you,
so
thank you.
much for joining us today. It was a wonderful conversation, and I hope that so many families and couples, can pull usable things out of this, and then also maybe reach out to you for any extra assistance that they need.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help. And you can change your relationship in just one session. It's really
Mhm.
that easy. So you're not that far away.
Absolutely. And for all of our viewers, please remember to like, share, follow, and subscribe so that you know when our next video is released.
Yeah, thank you.